On this 11th episode of Grant Random Reports the News, you'll hear about men getting their nipples reduced, a priest selling dick pills, and a guy in a kilt putting things into his anus that he probably shouldn't have. All of that and much more to come. Stay with us, please. In other words, don't hit stop. Reporting from subterranean Brooklyn, I'm Grant Random, and this is the news. You may remember hearing about Bobby, the world's oldest dog, who passed away last year at the age of 31. We're now learning that Bobby has been posthumously stripped of his title as the world's oldest dog by Guinness World Records, who say they no longer have the evidence to support Bobby's claim as the record holder. To add insult to injury, Bobby has also since been asked to leave the Rainbow Bridge. We have a sad update regarding Flacco the Owl, who we told you about in a previous episode. Flacco made headlines last year when he escaped from New York City's Central Park Zoo with the assistance of a vandal. The Eurasian eagle owl roamed free throughout Manhattan over the last year, and we had reported he scared the shit out of people when he was spotted looking in at them while perched outside their windows. Sadly, Flacco died after apparently flying into a building on the Upper West Side, probably on the way to watch a woman bathing in Midtown. If you believe in reincarnation, then perhaps his fun-loving voyeuristic antics as an owl will land him on a sexual registry as a human in the next life. Good luck with that, Flacco. A man in Jacksonville, Florida had 150 live bugs removed from his nose, and he didn't even know they were there to begin with. After he'd been feeling a bit off and experiencing frequent nosebleeds, the man went to a doctor who discovered and then removed the live bugs who were in the larva stage from his nose and sinuses. This isn't the first time the gentleman has dealt with parasites, as he's removed several from his house, including one that he recently dropped off for the spring semester at Florida State University. Elsewhere in Florida, the first ever Florida Man Games took place recently in St. Augustine. The event was designed as a celebration of the state's colorful criminal history. The competition featured domestic assault, extreme DUI, and public defecation, and this was before the games even began. Japan's legendary Naked Man Festival has been discontinued after more than 1,000 years due to the country's declining population. The festival involves hundreds of men in loincloths wrestling for ownership of a bag of talismans blessed by a temple priest. For the final installment this year, women were actually allowed to participate for the first time. One of the elders organizing the festival confessed, quote, "It's been a bit of a sausage fest all these years. What the hell were we thinking?" A recent report in the UK profiled a married couple who are 100 and 101 years old. Olwen and Arthur Hayward are not only believed to be the 15th married couple in the UK where both spouses are centenarians, but also have been married for over 75 years. Mrs. Hayward says the secret to their long marriage is that they've lived in separate cities since 1977. A newspaper in Lexington, Kentucky obtained internal records from the state prison system showing that at least 30 prison guards across the state had sex with prisoners over the course of 16 months, and those are just the ones who got caught. The reports show that one female staffer even became pregnant by a prisoner. Plus, another 14 guards were caught smuggling drugs into their respective prisons. While state officials are said to be livid, prisoner morale has never been higher. A candlelight vigil was held in Kanawha City, West Virginia for a closed Hooters ahead of its demolition. The beloved restaurant was considered a central part of Kanawha City life, along with church, the local Cracker Barrel, and a strip club that's pretty loosey-goosey with the rules. A Spanish artist is set to marry an AI hologram that's designed as a composite of her ex-boyfriend. Because Alicia Framis has had a hard time finding love with humans, she's turning to technology. Looking at her Instagram, her AI boyfriend basically looks like a ghost, which serves as a reminder that Spectre sex is also an option for those who are down on their luck in love. After all, pop artist Kesha has written a song about her experience fucking a ghost and is now an inspiration to spectrophiliacs around the globe. By the way, this story led me to Google about sex with holograms, which led me to a subreddit for Star Trek, which is surprisingly sexual. This led me to do another Google search to confirm that Spock most definitely fucks. In entertainment news, we've got another hologram story as we've learned that late Queen frontman Freddie Mercury is returning in the form of a 3D hologram. Promoters say it'll be just like a regular concert experience, complete with egregiously overpriced tickets, views obstructed by cell phones, overpriced booze, extreme drunkenness despite the overpriced booze, fans throwing stuff at performers, overpriced merch, people talking loudly throughout the performance, overpriced counterfeit merch, fights breaking out, overpriced food, filthy bathrooms, overpriced parking, getting hit in the head with a dildo, etc. Not sure about you, but count me in. Another band has hoodwinked their fans by reuniting after previously doing an extensive farewell tour. Metal legends Slayer have committed to headlining a couple of festivals in September. Responding to criticism of the band for lying to their fan base, the lead singer's wife defended the decision to reunite, saying that she told her husband to reform the band despite him wanting to remain retired. Yeah, that really helps things out, sure. The other members of the band got permission from their wives and significant others to participate in the reunion, suggesting the rebellious spirit of heavy metal is alive and well. When we return, you'll hear about illegal butt stuff. But first, please enjoy a momentary intermission. A growing number of men in New York City are getting nipple reduction surgery. These men are paying $5,000 to get their nips whittled, with many reportedly asking for nipples like those of retired soccer star David Beckham. It appears that these men believe Beckham's nipples represent the gold standard of nipple perfection in that they are small, symmetrical, and almond-shaped. Other popular procedures for men include penile filters, anal bleaching, and scrotox, which is, you guessed it, Botox for your balls. It's for the gentleman who prefers a smooth sack and who's had some mishaps trying to get there with an iron. Last episode, we told you about a pastor who was busted for selling meth. This week, we've learned of a priest in Spain who's been busted for allegedly selling Viagra. The man is named Alfonso Raul Massa Soto, and authorities discovered the dick pills along with other powerful aphrodisiacs in his quarters at the church rectory, which he allegedly shared with his male lover. In the town of Don Benito, where the church is located, the priest is described as a very popular man. After his arrest, Father Soto was released on bail and was facing a lot of questions and hundreds of anxious text messages. A Houston area man was arrested after allegedly entering several stores wearing a kilt and then inserting various items into his anus.
Are you serious?
60-year-old Mitchell Cooper Vest was initially spotted entering the Antique Gallery of Houston, where he inserted both a makeup brush and a restoration hardware piece into his rectum before placing them back where he found them and leaving the store. Later, Vest was seen at another antique store called the Curiosity Shop, where he shoved an antique bottle opener and a tobacco tent can into his shit whistle. Once again, he returned both items to the shelf, with both stores having to throw out the items as they were covered in fecal matter. By the way, I think it's a shame that these items were discarded. According to the internet, you can slowly add 1 teaspoon of bleach to 2 cups of water and use this solution to disinfect surfaces contaminated with feces, vomit, urine, or blood. Now, when you get all 4 of these things together, that's known as the Holy Quadrumvirate, which, when present the next morning, is a sign of a very successful party. Vest is facing a charge of criminal mischief and should be ashamed of himself for bringing negative attention to gentlemen who wear kilts, as well as those of us shoppers who enjoy shoving merchandise into our asses. I would like to say thank you not only for listening to this podcast, but also for your patience in its release as it got delayed because I was hit with the flu. Thanks everybody who participated in the Instagram poll, which showed that Wednesday was the day of choice by far. As always, I ask for you to subscribe if you haven't. Please give the podcast a 5-star rating if you can. Also, leave a nice review on your app if at all possible. Thank you again for listening to the newscast that most definitely should not be considered a fucking newscast. This has been a production of Idiocy.